Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another edition of On The Mark. Of course, you know it's a Wednesday night and it's 8 p.m. and that means it's 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. On The Mark, straight talk across the narrows. I am Troy Liburd and I will be your host for this evening. This evening promises to be a wonderful night as usual. The show's original host, the Honorable Mark Brantley, he is off island, so he's not able to be with us this evening. So I'm here with you this evening, and we'll have a good time tonight. Quite a lot of things happening in and around the Federation, so there's a lot to talk about. Of course, I'm always happy for the opportunity to come here to On The Mark to interact with all of you out there in the general public. On The Mark, as you know, is a show with a lot of reach. People from all over the world tune in and listen, and now you can watch also On The Mark from wherever you are. I remember when I started coming on The Mark, it was a show that you listened to on the radio, 860 on your AM dial. That is where you would turn and get On The Mark, and then the show went on the internet on www.vanradio.com. We have now moved to Facebook, so you can go on Facebook and type in Van Radio and you can pick up the show, or you can go on YouTube, go to the Van Radio YouTube page and you can get the show. And if you don't catch us tonight, then you can certainly replay the show on Facebook or on YouTube to your pleasure. And the show is also rebroadcast the following day on Van Radio at 1 p.m. So On The Mark has come a long way, and Van Radio continues to move with the time. So now you can not just see us, but you not just hear us, but you can see us also. So what's on the agenda? Of course, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the show, we always like to welcome in all of our listeners and viewers from wherever you are, from the four corners of the world. Those who are listening and viewing us from the Far East, I think it's early morning already over there, so I'm happy that you're waking up with us here at On The Mark. You know, those in the European areas and so on, it's the wee hours of the morning. There's like after midnight sometime, those in England and those type of places. And we are very happy that you have taken the decision to stay up, spend a little bit of your night with us here at On The Mark. And for those of us in the Western Hemisphere, it's 8 p.m. for some of us, 9, 10 for some others, and maybe it's 6 p.m. for those persons living in California and those type of places, 5, 6 p.m. in the evening. So we're happy that you are here with us. And of course, in the Federation and in these islands around the region, we are happy that all of you decide to spend your Wednesday nights with us. So it's 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. And you know, we're always happy for those persons who choose to call in, because they make the show what it is. You know, earlier this week, I think it's earlier this week or late last week, I had an encounter with one of our regular callers. I met him on the street, you know, and so we had a good exchange. I'm hoping he's gonna call in, and I think I saw him 2 or 3 times after that. So now we are regular good buddies and good friends. So I'm hoping that he's gonna call in tonight as usual, and you know, help make the show. So I want to welcome in all who are listening. Of course, at the top of the show, we like to send out our condolences to those persons who have suffered loss. And you know, immediately I turn to the Hanleys Road area, to the loss of Mr. Ellsworth Montgomery Watley, also better known as Keith or Joe Watley. I knew him as Joe, you know, and I want to send out condolences to the entire family, you know, and all of his friends and so on. Joe was a good guy, somebody who was full of life, always smiling. You know, whenever I had, you know, the opportunity to meet up with him, you know, he's somebody who was always smiling and full of life and so on. And so, you know, it's a sad thing to see him go. So I want to send out condolences from us here at On The Mark to the entire family and to all the, you know, the Hanleys Road community. You know, the Hanleys Road community is a very close-knit community, and I have quite a lot of roots in the Hanleys Road community. My mother's maiden name is Doer, and if you know what that means, you know that a lot of persons in the Hanleys Road area carry the surname Doer, or they are related to those of us who carry the surname Doer. So I have quite a lot of roots in the Hanleys Road community, and so I want to send out my condolences to the immediate family, to the wider family, and to the entire Hanleys Road community on the passing of Joe. Of course, we begin the show this evening on, you know, a rather somber note. I think by now everybody would have heard about the freak accident that we had earlier this afternoon. It was an accident on the seawater, where a boat would have, you know, sadly come into contact or struck someone who was in the water, and sadly the gentleman would have succumbed to his injury. The gentleman by the name of Jamal Handy, his nickname is Ishmael, and I want to send out condolences from us here at On The Mark on the passing of Mr. Hanley. A very unfortunate you know, occurrence, and whenever things like these happen, you know, as a small society, we all, you know, feel it. We are all connected to it somehow. So I want to send our condolences to the entire family. It's certainly a very sad occurrence, not something that you would want to wish on anybody at all. And for us here as a small community, when one person is hurt in such a way, everybody you know, feel it in some sort of way. So a very tragic incident, a very sad occurrence, a freak accident, you know. These are things that you know, you just can't, you don't expect it, and it just happens. And when it happens, it's so very sad. And so I just want to send out our condolences to those who are really suffering at this point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. I am Troy Liburd, and I'll be your host for this evening. I was given some notices, yes, to the Butlers Enhancement Improvement Association would like to say a hearty thank you to all who donated and supported the event, which was held to raise funds for Mr. Thomas Doer to aid with his medical expenses. The association is still accepting donations for those who are desirous in doing so. Donations can be made through the Bank of Nevis Limited, account number 1 18668. That's the Bank of Nevis Limited, account number 18668. Or you can contact Cheryl at 668-2638. That's contact Cheryl at 668-2638. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So anybody who is desirous of contributing towards the medical expenses of Mr. Thomas Doer, then you can contact Cheryl, or you can go to the Bank of Nevis and make a generous donation to account number 18668. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, straight talk across the Narrows. So we are just a week, I think, a little bit more than a week outside of the Easter vacation, well, the Easter weekend, sorry, and the big Good Friday weekend. And of course, you know, that's a big weekend for us here on Nevis. Of course, you know, we had the kite flying extravaganza on the flats in Coal Hill, and that is something that has been going on for more than 20 years. I think closer to 30 than 20 years actually. And that's a big thing every year. This year we didn't do a lot of advertising, but you know, that's not something that really needs to be advertised, because folks just turn out to that event. I remember leaving home and I'm saying, I'm wondering if a lot of persons going to come out this year. And by the time I got down to the main road going into Coal Hill, the vehicles were already lining off, and I couldn't even find parking on the flats. And as the day went on, more and more persons poured into the flats. So we had a really good kite flying extravaganza. Of course, you know, the kite flying extravaganza is put on every year by the SJCIC, the St. John's Community Improvement Club, and it has been going strong for almost 30 years now. And so it's a wonderful event. I'm somebody who participated in that event for many years as a youngster. I'm a little bit older now, and you know, I went and seriously, I went and tried to participate maybe about 10 years ago, I think, and I was doing very well. I think they announced me to win something, and all the guys said no, try, no. So I didn't go back in as a participant since that. I've been a judge and so on, and more recently my ministry has been doing the sponsorship for the event. So we are very happy to partner with the SJCIC. I think we have some additional sponsors also, and if somebody could send me a WhatsApp, I will be happy to give a shout out to the other sponsors. I'll be very happy to do that. But it was a really good event on Good Friday, and then of course all through the Easter weekend. We had holiday on Monday, so Friday was a holiday, and then Monday was also a holiday. And you know, us here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, for us Easter, it's not just a holiday, but Easter is a solemn occasion. Of course, we mark the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that is what Easter is all about. And Easter is celebrated, I think it's the first weekend after the first full moon after the spring equinox. I think that is how you determine the date of Easter. I think somebody asked me, well, how do we determine the date of Easter? Because sometimes Easter falls in March, and sometimes late March, or sometimes it falls in April. I think it can go down to as far as maybe close to the end of April. So it's the first weekend following the first full moon after the spring equinox. That's how you determine when Good Friday is going to be, and when Easter is going to be. And Easter, very, very significant for those of us who are Christians and those of us who believe in the birth of Jesus Christ being something significant, and believe in his death on the cross and his subsequent resurrection. And so Easter is a time of year when we really sit back and reflect on that sacrifice that was made for all of us. So I think just prior to Easter, yes, we had the Leeward Island under 15 team taking part in the West Indies under 15 Rising Star tournament, and this tournament was held in Antigua, and it was from the 4th of April up until the 12th of April. And we had some 5 divisions making it into the Leeward Islands under 15 team, and I'm told that the Leeward Islands under 15 team performed creditably at the tournament. The tournament would have involved teams like Trinidad and Tobago, who I think were the eventual winners of the tournament, Guyana, Barbados, the Windward Islands, the usual powerhouses of cricket within the West Indies. But I think something good for all of us here on Nevis is that 5 members of the Leeward Island under 15 team were Nevisians. I know that we also had Kititians on the team, but I don't have the information on who the Kititian members of the team were. So if I could get that information, I would certainly be happy to highlight them and to send a big shout out to them. But I have the name of the Nevisians who were on the under 15 team, and I would like to certainly give a big shout out and congratulations to those cricketers, our young cricketers. We had Lyth Brown, we had Amari Jones, Jadon Herbert, Rondre Daniel, and Krishna Gadari. And those were the 5 Nevisians who were a part of the Leeward Islands under 15 team for the recently concluded West Indies under 15 Rising Stars tournament in Antigua. And I want to say a big congratulations to all of our players, and we look forward to hearing a lot about these cricketers and these athletes in the not too distant future. We're hoping that some of our young cricketers could go on and push on further and emulate some of our cricketing stars of yesteryear who have made it to the highest level and played for the West Indies. We think about people like Elcomido Willett, who just recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of making it to the West Indies team. We think about Derek Parry and all of the others who have gone on, Keith Atherton and Stuart Williams, my good friend Renako Morton of blessed memory, and of course Kyron Powell, Carl Tuckett, all who have played for the West Indies team. And we also have a lot of Nevisians who have played at the Leeward Islands level, and some of our Nevisians have also played for President's 11 and those type of teams. So we are looking forward to the next generation of Nevisian cricketers coming up and making it to the highest level. And I want the players to not just be satisfied with making it to the highest level, but also they would want to push on and become international superstars and become great cricketers, so that whenever people speak about cricket, especially in these parts, that their names would be at the top. Their names would be on the tip of everybody's tongue, that you can't speak about cricket without speaking about these young Nevisians who are making a big impact on the world stage of cricket. There's a lot of avenues out there for cricket. Now you have test cricket, of course, you have one-day cricket, but you also have 2020, and I think 10-10 is now something that is coming in. But 2020 cricket certainly has taken off, and 2020 cricket is being played all over the world. There are many lucrative clubs and so on out there, and many lucrative tournaments, and so some of our players could certainly make a good impact and make a good living out there playing in some of these tournaments. So I want to wish our rising stars, you know, all the best in their endeavors and in their cricket going forward. So those persons who played for the Leeward Islands under 15, they are Light Brown, Amara Jones, Jadon Herbert, Rondre Daniel, and Krishna Gidari. I want to say a big congratulations from the whole of Nevis to all of you. And of course, at the same time that we had our Leeward Islands tournament, we also had Carifta going on, and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis sent a team to Carifta that was 18 strong, and I'm told that that is one of the largest Carifta contingents that St. Kitts and Nevis has ever sent to Carifta, and our team performed creditably. You know, our teams performed very well. Our athletes did a really good job out there in Carifta, and you know, those of you who were able to tune in to the live stream, there was a live stream, and I know a lot of persons were tuned in and watching the live stream for Carifta. I was certainly tuned in. Whatever I was doing, I had my phone, you know, on the live stream, and when I couldn't have my phone, I had a tablet or something on the live stream if I was doing something else on my phone, because I was certainly locked in to the Carifta, and if I didn't get to see, I would come back and check, you know, to see what the results of those races are, especially the races where we had athletes from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So we had a team that was 18 strong, and of that team we had 6 individuals who were from Nevis. And so I want to, you know, highlight our 6 athletes from Nevis, of course, and call their names because I have the names here. I would call all of the other names, but I don't have the full list on me. So certainly from Nevis we had Shamari Newton, who we all know is an exceptional athlete here on Nevis. We had Tiana Liburd, who has also been an exceptional athlete in Nevis for many years. We had young Kenron Freeman from right there in Brown Hill. We had Leon Thompson Jr. from right there in Cherry Garden, another young promising athlete. We had Miss Kalia Jones, another up-and-coming promising athlete, and we had Mr. Alexander Keynes. And Alexander, as we know, is off in university studying, and he's a student athlete. I've seen a few of his clips. His dad, of course, you know, is a former athlete himself, and certainly one of the best track and field minds around here, somebody who does a lot of coaching and so on, and he would normally put up the clips, and I would definitely watch them. So he's off in university being a student athlete, and so these are the 6 persons from Nevis who formed part of the team. St. Kitts and Nevis did really well. We had a gold medal being won by young Akani. I don't have the full name. We had a silver medal by Jalen, and we had bronze by Deschanel. And I think this year was the first time in over 5 years that we were able to capture a gold medal in the 400-meter hurdles, and I certainly remember that race very well. I remember watching that race, and I think the St. Kitts Nevis athlete was somewhere on the inside, and the commentators were all focusing on some of the athletes in the middle of the track. And then here came the young athlete from St. Kitts and Nevis coming up on the inside, and grabbing that gold medal. So we were all very, very happy watching that medal. So our contingent did very well in Carifta. Of course, I think I neglected to mention that the head coach for the Carifta team was our very own Mr. Kervin Wallace, and Kervin, as we all know, is someone who has made it to the very top of track and field, making it to the Olympics. And I think Kervin was the first division to be an Olympian, and he was the coach for the team. I think we had persons such as Dwayne Warner, who also accompanied the team, and of course Mr. Delwayne Delaney from over there in St. Kitts, who is the president of SKN Athletics. They were all there with the team. And so our Carifta team did very, very well. And I think this bodes for us, this bodes well for St. Kitts and Nevis as a federation going forward. And I think for us here in Nevis, we can feel really good about our young athletes taking part in a regional meet such as Carifta. Carifta has been around for a very long time. I remember as a youngster I used to hear about athletes going to Carifta, but in those days you would get maybe one athlete going to Carifta or two, and it would be athletes who are very, very exceptional. And so these athletes, as we are learning, are very, very exceptional, and so we are able to produce more exceptional athletes in the federation, and here on Nevis we're able to produce more athletes. And so I want to congratulate all of these athletes. You have put in the hard work and you have made it as far as Carifta. I want to encourage you to continue to put in the hard work. I know when you went to Carifta you would have seen the Bahamians and the Jamaicans, well, especially the Jamaicans, because Jamaica would have won the meet, and they did very, very well, especially in all the sprints and those type of things. So you would have seen these Jamaican athletes and so on performing, and in many cases they outperformed some of the other athletes, and a lot of it has to do with the work ethic and the level of hard work that they're putting in. And so I want to encourage our athletes to take the track and field seriously. If you've made up your mind that you want to be an athlete and this is something that you want to do, then do it to the best of your ability. And so I want to congratulate our athletes, and at the same time I want to encourage you to go back to the drawing board and redouble your efforts. So if you're still eligible to be a Carifta athlete next year, I want you, when you go to Carifta next year, that you have an eye towards placing and getting your medal, an eye towards getting that gold medal. And if not medaling, at least you would know when you go to Carifta you would be doing a personal best, and you would certainly be improving. So we're looking for some improvement. And for those athletes who just missed out on maybe Carifta qualification, now is the time to go back to the drawing board and start to work towards next year. There are lots of college scouts and so on who normally come to games like Carifta and so on looking for talent, and so it's a big opportunity for our athletes here in the federation to get some exposure and to get out there into the world. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. I've been talking for quite a long time. It's 8:30 now, and so I want, this is a call-in show, so I want to give some people the opportunity to call in and to share their views with us, of course. So I'd say let me open the lines, and if there's anybody out there who wants to call in, then they would have that opportunity to call in. Of course, when the lines are open, the numbers to call are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. I'm almost getting like Mark now, talking for a half an hour and so on at the start of the show, not realizing that I've been talking for so long. But this is the People Show. It's a call-in show, and so we want to hear from you. So the lines are now open. I'm going to continue to talk about the Carifta, though. Our athletes did really well, and I want to encourage the athletes, of course, to try to take it to the next level. So go back and do that training and so on. And in terms of the government, there has been a lot of talk about facilities and equipment and so on. And yes, we understand that there is a need for equipment and so on. We understand that those things would certainly go a long way toward improving the performance of our athletes, and towards assisting the athletes in moving themselves forward at a quicker pace and so on. And so we are making that commitment that we will try to start bringing in stuff. I think I've seen things on Facebook about hurdles and so on. So we're making that commitment that we would be going out and trying to get the equipment for the hurdles and for the jumping beds and those type of things, to ensure that our athletes are equipped. Of course, here in Nevis we've gone out and we have done some things. We've brought the Mondo track that I think has made a huge difference in terms of our athletes being able to go out there into the outside world and perform in the way that they have been performing. Let me talk a little bit about Interprimary, because Interprimary was on the 5th of April, and this is the first time I'm on the radio since Interprimary. And I think everybody in Nevis would say that we had a very, very successful Interprimary championships this year. I want to say a big thank you, a big shout out to our title sponsor, Gulf Insurance, who has been with us for many, many years. Almost 30 years Gulf Insurance has been with them, and so we want to thank them for their continued support of our children here on Nevis, of our young athletes here on Nevis. We want to thank Gulf Insurance for their continued investment in the young people of Nevis. So a big shout out to Gulf Insurance. Of course, our other title sponsor, the Bank of Nevis International, Bonnie. We want to thank you for coming on board with us this year, and Bonnie has come on board with us this year in a big way. I think the initial sponsorship from them was 20,000 US and I can say that and smile, because 20,000 US is a significant contribution in terms of sponsorship. And so I want to thank all of the staff and the management at the Bank of Nevis International for coming on in such a big way. You have really made our Interprimary this year into the success that it was. I also want to thank Rams Supermarket and the whole Rams group of companies. I want to thank Rams for coming on as a platinum sponsor. We want to thank you very much, and also to the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. We want to thank you for coming on in such a big way also as a platinum sponsor. I'm sure folks going to the sports meet would have seen all of the National Bank flags and all of the Rams flags and so on. So we want to thank those who really came on and did a good turn in terms of sponsoring the activity to make it what it was. This year, for the first time in the history of the meet, the winners of the meet in terms of the school that won was determined by a gold medal count. When we decided that we were moving to gold medal count, it was met with a lot of quite a lot of see, somebody just gave me some information on Carifta, and I want to say a big thank you to that person who sent me the information. It's quite cumbersome to read, but I'll definitely go through and try to give the general public as much of that information as I can. So Okay. So what was I saying? Yes, I think I was talking about the inter-primary meet and the fact that we had moved to a medal count. So for the first time ever, we determined the winner of the inter-primary championships by a gold medal count, as opposed to the traditional way of doing it, where a certain amount of points was given for first, a certain amount for second, third, fourth, and I think down to as far as fifth we gave points. And then at the end of the day, the points would be tabulated and the school with the most points would come out on top. That was the way that we did it before, but we wanted to move to something that would be simpler and I would think better. You know, sometimes you don't want to do that head-to-head comparison, but something that is more in line with what is done internationally in track and field, and that's the medal counts. There was quite a bit of skepticism about it early on, but I think most persons who I've spoken to after that, even persons who are very, very skeptical about it, have come back and they have said, you know, the medal count is really the thing, you know. The medal count is the thing, because we were able to follow the medal count all throughout the meet. So, you know, the entire crowd was able to follow the medal count all throughout the meet. We have our first caller. Let's go to the lines. We have our first caller for tonight. Caller, you're on the mark. Good evening.
Hey, John.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? Why? How come you don't call Fobble name?
Why should I call Fobble name?
Because the Fobble is a champion cricket, I know.
Okay, brother.
And, you know, he used to teach you with them.
All right, brother. I'm glad that you're calling to call his name. Okay?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, let's go. Fobble.
All right, brother. You take care. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. The lines are open. The numbers to call 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. So, it's talking a bit about the medal count. And as I was saying, persons who were very skeptical in the beginning about the medal count, you know, some of them ended up coming back and saying the medal count was good. It turned out to be good because we could follow the medal count quite easily as the meet went along. And so that was something. The medal counts were being posted on the screens, and we had LED screens on the ground so that the crowd could see the LED screens. You could get the ads and you could get a bit of the medal count and all of that. I think we had some replays where there were close races and so on. So the inter-primary meet was at a very, very high level this year. And for those persons who were viewing the meet and listening to the meet on social media, on YouTube and on Facebook, the live streams, we were able to have the on-field commentators come into the live stream. That was a request that we kept getting from, you know, folks who would watch the meet on the live stream all the time, and said they wanted to hear the on-field commentators because they wanted to get a similar experience to what persons in the ground were experiencing. And so we were happy that we were able to deliver that this year. Of course, every year what we try to do is to improve the sporting event. But I think everyone would agree that the most important part of the inter-primary championships, the most important part of the sports meets, are the children, our student athletes who are out there running, and you know, it's all about them. And what we want from our student athletes is to be able to go out there, be diligent with your craft, and we want to see some of these athletes go on to the next level and even get to the highest level, to the Olympics and to the World Championships and so on. And maybe one or two of them could go out and win a medal for St. Kitts and Nevis. And so that's what it's all about in terms of the inter-primary. And so we are looking for our athletes to go out and be the very, very best that they can be. I want to send out a big shout out and a big congratulations to the Charlestown Primary School. They came out as the top school for the inter-primary championships. I think they were the top school last year also, and they are the top school this year. And you know, oddly enough, a lot of my good friends who are strong supporters of the Charlestown Primary School, when they heard that we were moving to a medal count, a lot of them came to me and they said, you know, oh, Minister, you're all changing up the thing because you want to beat Charlestown. You're changing up the thing. And I've said to them, you know, that the medal count has nothing to do with anybody trying to get anybody to lose or anybody trying to get anybody else to win. The medal count is bringing us closer to what is done internationally. The medal count is bringing us here in Nevis in line with what is done internationally. It's the same medal count that is used over on the sister island of St. Kitts for, I think, most, if not all, of their track meets. And so we're just getting in line with that. And you know, if the athletes are good, the athletes will go out and they will do what they will do, whether it's medal count or if it's for points. And I think the students, they go out and they have a lot of fun. And for me, the inter-primary championships was exceptional. The one little downer on the meet for me was the rain. When the rain came in, and of course, you know, you can't, we don't have any control over the rain, you know. Those are the blessings from God, and if he sees it fit to send rain at whatever time, then, you know, to God be the glory. Excuse me. So the rains came in, and you know, the rains did fall very, very hard on that day, but I'm happy that we were able to go out and to continue the track meet and to finish the track meet. You know, we were able to finish the meet, and we were able to crown a winner. So I think Charlestown Primary School, they came out the winner, and then I think they were followed by the St. Thomas's Primary School, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, somebody please call in and correct me. I don't want to be wrong about this. And then St. Thomas's Primary were followed by the Joycelyn Liburd Primary, and then, if I am not mistaken, I think that the St. James Primary School was fourth. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I believe that St. James Primary School was fourth. And that is something significant, because St. James Primary School is probably the smallest public primary school on Nevis in terms of the enrollment, in terms of the number of students, and they were able to you know, place fourth overall. And I think that is very, very significant, and we should certainly commend the St. James Primary School for that effort. We want to commend all of the coaches, you know, from all of our primary schools, public and private. Our coaches do an exceptional job. They work day in and day out, early mornings, late at afternoons, all throughout the day, to get our student athletes ready. You know, our coaches are like second mummies and second daddies in some cases, because they are always out there looking out for these children. And sometimes I go and I see the coaches at work, and I see the way that they interact with the students and so on, and it just warms my heart to see that. I'm always so delighted to see our coaches at work with the young people. So, you know, it's always a very, very good thing. And so I want to send a big shout out to all of our coaches. Of course, an extra special shout out to the coaches at Charlestown Primary School, because Charlestown Primary School has emerged from the sports meet as the winner. And I know that, I don't know if they had the motorcade yet, because I think the sports happened when school was already out, but I'm sure at the beginning of the next term that they will be having their motorcade and their celebration. And I, of course, would try my best, God willing, to come to the school to certainly congratulate them personally on an exceptional job. Of course, all of our students, they do well, but you know, we want to congratulate the school and persons when they do exceptionally well. There were some standout performances at the inter-primary sports meet. I think the Victor Ladorium, or you would say the most outstanding male, the athlete who would have probably won the most medals and garnered the most points. A point system is still used to determine who is the Victor Ladorium and the Victrix Ladorium, and based on the system used, young Kelron Liburd Jr. of the Joycelyn Liburd Primary, he was adjudged to be the most outstanding male athlete. And so I want to send a big shout out to Kelron Liburd Jr. and the family. I know Jennifer Liburd is always listening to the show, and that's the grandma. And so Jennifer, I want to send a big shout out to you and to Kelron and to the entire family on the performances of Kelron Liburd Jr. Certainly the races that he took part in, once that race started and he's in the race, most likely you could say it's all over. But the formalities, an exceptional young athlete, and I think he has a bright future. The Victrix Ladorium, or the most outstanding female athlete, was Adira Wallace, also of the Joycelyn Liburd Primary School. Another exceptional athlete, another athlete where, once you see her lined up in the race, you can say it's all over but the formalities of the running. We certainly have some exceptional athletes here on Nevis, and so I want to say congratulations to the Victor and the Victrix, both of whom happen to be students of the Joycelyn Liburd Primary School. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We're already 10 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, and I realize that I'm very interested this evening. I must be saying a lot of good things because I realize nobody is calling in to join the conversation. So everybody must be, well in tuned to the show and listening and consuming the information that is being put out on the show, because nobody is calling in. But, we continue with the show. We always come prepared, to talk and talk. Matter of fact, some of us, we actually, we could talk all night. Once you come here and On the Mark, you have to be prepared. But of course, the lines are open. The numbers to call are 869-469-1616. And yes, we have a caller. Caller, you're On the Mark. Good night.
Yes, Mr. Edward, I'm calling. Jennifer right here, listening.
Yes, good to hear from you.
Really big up all the athletes, and most from the Joycelyn Liburd Primary School. I want to also big up the coaches of those children, and I thank you for the accolades. KJ is a very determined child. He's very hyper, and I'm glad he took out his energy on the track. Okay, not only in the classroom but on the track. Yes, he fell down, like a person when he fell down in the 800, but he is a determined child, and he finished his 800 race, came first, and he still went back on 100 again, and did well. Even though he was injured, he still performed well and got the first place. So thank God for
to God be the glory.
Right. And for all the good things he has done, for all these children, for their parents, teachers and coaches, and even the ministry. Thank you. And I'm going to try, we as a family will try our best to channel all this talent that he has. To God be the glory.
Definitely. Take good care of him. I know you will, because you took very good care of me, so I know you will.
All right.
You have a wonderful night, Jennifer, and thanks for calling.
You too.
I did neglect to mention that young Kelron Liburd Jr. did indeed fall down in his 800-meter race, and he was able to get up, show a great deal of, determination, what we would colloquially refer to as guts and grit. He was able to get up and not only finish the race, but he was able to finish the race and win the 800-meter race. And so, that type of determination is what we are looking for in all of our athletes. They would not all be able to get up even though they're in pain and win, but the fact that they are determined to get up and to even try, that is something that is remarkable. And so again, I want to congratulate young Liburd on an exceptional job. Also want to congratulate again young Wallace. Both of these athletes were exceptional, and they came off as the Victor Ladorum and the Victrix Ladorum. I'm getting too many jokes here in my phone. I also want to highlight, I'm looking for it, because we had a few more remarkable athletes. Yes, I have something here that I was looking for in particular. I think I was looking for the 200 meters for the grade 6 girls, and in that race we had a record being set. And I remember watching that race, and there was a young lady of VOJN, I think Kiara Hanley, yes, of VOJN, who ran that race, an exceptional race, and she would have broken a record that had been standing for quite a while. And what's exceptional is that this is a grade 6 student, and she came in a time of what, 26.9 something seconds, and for anybody in grade 6 to be running 26, once it starts with 26, that is exceptional, because the next person after her would have come in 28 high, and 28 is pretty much what you would be expecting for somebody of that age. So I thought that was remarkable, and I think that was worth highlighting. So we did have some really good performances. Also, I want to speak a bit about the cricket ball throw. I think this was the first time that we introduced a field event to the inter-primary event, the cricket ball throw, and I want to congratulate all of those persons who participated. It's something new, certainly, and I was told that it's something that is a precursor to the javelin, so it will get our students into the rhythm of the type of throw that is necessary for the javelin. That's what I was told. I could be wrong, and somebody who is an expert in the area could certainly correct me if indeed I am wrong. But it's always good to see our athletes doing new things and trying new things and so on. And I believe as we go along that the inter-primary sports meet will continue to evolve. It's the biggest sports meet on Nevis. The crowd this year for 2023 is certainly the biggest crowd that I have seen at inter-primary. Inter-primary used to be at the park, E.T. Willett Park, and India used to be overflowing, but E.T. Willett Park is a lot smaller than over at the Nevis Athletic Stadium, or the Mondo Track as we call it. It's a lot smaller. And I think our first year over there in 2018, we had quite the crowd, but it wasn't quite full to the brim. But this year, just before the rains came in and so on, the Mondo Track was bursting at the seams. I remember looking through the back gate and seeing all the vehicles that were parked in the parking lot there, adjacent to going on Long Point Road, and then there was the other parking lot on the next road where all the vendors and so on was. That parking lot was also full to the seam, and inside the venue itself, all of the paid parking was full also. And when you looked at the crowd itself, the crowd was full and the crowd was full of energy and so on. I remember taking a walk around which started up in the athletes area, and we went around into the crowd and so on, and when we were at the end of the walk around, you know, coming back through all of the bleachers and the stands and so on, I think that was the same time when they went for the intermission, and at that time we had the artist there from St. Kitts, Ruckus HE, performing in the intermission, myself and Minister Evelyn, and we were accompanied by a few of the ministers from St. Kitts who were over here for the event. Deputy Prime Minister Hanley, and also the Minister of Sports over in St. Kitts, Honorable Samuel Douglas, was also there. We were coming through the crowd, you know, and we couldn't get through the crowd. As a matter of fact, when we got to the end, you know, the music was playing and so on, and you know, some of the patrons in the crowd, you know, they started to dance and so on, and that happened, and I saw Eric there in the crowd, and you know, you all know Eric. Eric is, you know, he get on. I'm stiff-legged, so I don't really get involved. So, but I think that I'm trying to say that people really enjoyed themselves at the interprimary, and that's the type of atmosphere that we're trying to create, and we're trying to create something where the young people can feel the support of the Nivision populace, and that is what I think they were getting at the sports meet. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost approaching the 9 o'clock hour. I think this is a record for us tonight, you know, in terms of calls. Normally the calls, they fly in, but tonight I guess everybody just want to listen to me talk all night about sports and so on. Well, I'm going to stick on sports and continue to talk a bit more about interprimary, yeah, because I wanted to, you know, thank all of the volunteers and so on who, you know, really year after year come out and make the sports happen. It takes a lot to plan the interprimary event, and it takes a lot to execute it, and a lot of people have to come on board to assist and so on. A lot goes into it before the day, and on the day a lot of work is done to coordinate all of the races and to coordinate everything. And so I want to thank all of our volunteers and so on. Our team for interprimary this year was led by Nicola Fraser from the Department of Education, and Alger Newton from the Department of Sports. Of course, you know, it's a collaboration between education and sports, and so those were the two persons, the 2 point persons who were leading the planning of the event itself. And in terms of the technical, all of the technical issues and running the sports on the day, all of the coordinating all of our technical staff, the volunteers and so on the day, that was the role of Mr. Garfield Virgo. And so I want to thank those persons for the hard work that they have put in. Of course, I want to thank P.S. Barrett, who, you know, P.S. Barrett is like the Energizer Bunny, and of course the PEOs, Anela Claxton, and all of their staff who really worked hard to put on the interprimary. Of course, we had a young lady who chaired the opening ceremony. I don't quite recall her name, and I think she did an exceptional job. When our young people do well, I think it's important that we highlight our young people when they do a good job, and so I want to take the opportunity to do that. A source for a little bit of contention to do with the interprimary would have been the construction of a building over on the end of the stands. I think everybody was referring to it as a VIP. Some story went out on Facebook and so on. I tend to follow what our leader says from time to time, the good premier. He likes to say, ignore the noise. You know, once it's something that, you know, it's not positive and it's not bringing any positive energy and it's not contributing in a good way to what's going on, he tends to say to ignore the noise, you know. And so for the most part, that is what we did. We ignored the noise, because there was a lot of chatter about it, and you know, there was a lot of talk that the government is putting up a VIP for exclusive persons and so on. And we've spoken about it a few times. I think the director of sports would have addressed it a little bit on the mark. We had on the mark here, I think the week before Interprimary. The director of sports would have addressed it. I would have spoken about it. I would have spoken about the origins of the idea to do that structure. And sometimes here in Nevis, when we see something being done, you know, and you hear one person come out and criticize, sometimes people don't come out and try to get the facts. We just run with the one thing that we hear. And I think that is a little problem that we tend to have, you know, from time to time, that as soon as you hear something, you just run with it. And so, you know, some persons heard something negative. For whatever reason, somebody wanted to go out and put something negative out. I mean, sometimes you don't know what their agenda is, but they might have one. And they put something out negative and people just go and they just run with it. As if, well, it's the first time that something is being built anywhere in the world to house a VIP or whatever the case may be. But the original intention of the building was not, you know, it didn't even have VIP in mind. We had some buildings over there and they were really in terrible state. They had been built when we first moved to the Mondo Track in 2018 for the Interprimary to house the media and so on. We had Van Radio, we had MTV, I think we had a media house from St. Kitts who used to come up, and so we had a few scrappy looking little buildings over there that we used to use to house the media, and we needed to replace them. So in some cases the floors and so on were, you know, rotting and falling in and so on, and people couldn't operate in those buildings. And so the decision was, why take something like that down to go and build back the same thing when it doesn't make any sense? Let's do something a bit better, so that the functionaries could have some place that they can work out of. And so we engage a young man, because I mean, I'm Minister of Sports, Education and so on, and Minister of Youth also. And whenever I'm doing anything, I like to give young people who have talent the opportunities. So we engage a young man who is an architect and so on, and with a, you know, he knows what he's doing. Stedroy Pemberton Jr., I think he's from Morning Star area, young architect, and had a little conversation with him, shared some ideas about what we would want to do. And the young man was able to go to the drawing board and come up with, you know, a nice design. And we realized we had all this roof space and so on. We said, you know, well, why not just utilize the roof space and create a viewing deck? Because at the same time, what we would normally do is get the stage and so on from Public Works, and we would build up something temporary, use it as a VIP for the, I don't even want to use the word VIP, but use it to accommodate you know, some of the dignitaries and some of our sponsors and so on, who they would have contributed a lot towards making the event, and we would want them to be comfortable when they come to the event. So we would normally put up a nice platform and put over a tent and so on to accommodate them. The same thing is done over in St. Kitts for high school championships and for other sports meets, that they would put up a platform and put up a tent, and you house your sponsors and so on. I was there for the high school championships this year, and there was a big tent, much bigger than what we normally do here in Nevis, and I think TDC, they were the title sponsors, and they were the ones who had the big tent. So it's not anything that is, you know, unique to Nevis is not anything that does not happen anywhere else. And so I did not understand what the big song and dance and the big hullabaloo, as Mark would like to say, the big hullabaloo was about. I did not understand it at all. And so, you know, we decided, you know, we could put in the viewing platform so that, you know, we would not have to do the temporary thing every single year, that platform could serve that purpose when we have Interpremier and when we have other events, that it could serve as a viewing platform. And so the design was modified and updated, and then, you know, the gentleman came up with his final design, and it was a lovely design. And I want to say a big shout out to young Stedroy and tell him to, you know, keep your head up and keep working, and certainly the future is yours. We have a lot of young people in Nevis who have talent, you know, real talent, and the talent just has to be nurtured, and the young people just need an opportunity. And I'm all about once people show that they have talent, once people show that they have capability, once people show that they can do the work, I'm all about giving people the opportunity to showcase that talent. You know, because if we have young people here in Nevis and we don't give them the opportunity, well, where are they going to get the opportunity from? You know, and I believe that a big part of my role is to give opportunity to young people. And that is what I did in that case. And I was very, very happy to do it. The construction was also done by a young man from Rollins Village, and he had a lot of people from Rollins Village and so on, and from all over Nevis who worked there. And you know what? Our goal for this year was our goal for Interpremier was to get the building up into a position where it was in a workable condition, you know, because that building started 2 weeks and 2 days before the Interpremier meet on the 5th of April. So that's 2 weeks and 2 days. So that's 7 and 7 are 14 plus 2, 16. 16 days. So it took them 16 days to put the building up and to get it into working shape for Interpremier. And I think that was more than commendable, you know, more than commendable. 16 days of work is what it took. And so while some persons were out there talking and having their big song and dance about it, I stayed quiet for the most part, because I knew that what was happening was actually something extraordinary, you know, and so I remained quiet about it. But indeed, it was something extraordinary, designed by a young man from the Brown Pasture area, and we had a young man from the Rollins area doing the construction. And you know, some people like to criticize a lot because they don't like to see young people doing anything. They don't like to see young people doing anything. But certainly, this government is one that believes that if we have talent here on the island, that we must give people an opportunity in whatever field they are in. Once people go out and people prepare themselves for work and to be able to perform, they need to get the opportunities. You know how much people have talent and they are there without any avenue to showcase that talent? And so whenever we get an opportunity, we have to do it. You know, I know when it comes to events such as Interpremier and so on, I always insist on us giving young people opportunities, things such as singing the national anthem, as cheering the opening ceremonies and so on. I always insist that we get young people to do it, because I want to give young people as much exposure as we can give them in a positive way, in doing positive things. Too often, we see young people out there being exposed and so on in things that are negative. And we don't see them often enough in positive things. And I'm all about positivity. I'm all about forward movement. I'm all about opportunities for young people. Because the young people are not just the future, you know. The young people are the here and now. It's young people who are coming up with the new ideas and so on. It's young people who are going to shape the community. What Nevis is and what St. Kitts and Nevis is going forward for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The new ideas, the fresh ideas that will be coming, these ideas will be coming from the young people. So I was certainly delighted to provide some opportunities to young people in designing the building, in building the building, and all of those things. And it's for the betterment of the young people who are participating, you know, in the sports meets and so on. So what's in the building? We were able to house the Red Cross in the building during the inter-primary. Normally Red Cross would be outside under a tent. So if it's windy, if it's rainy, whatever it is, the Red Cross would be out there in the elements. You know, it was not a perfect situation. We did our best. We provided tents and so on in the early days, but you know, it's all about progress. So we were very happy that we could move the Red Cross to some place where they would be more comfortable. Okay, what else did we have there? We were able to house NTV there. We were able to house the Powerhouse Van Radio there in the building. You know, everybody was there in comfortable situation, in comfortable quarters, under the AC and so on, able to deliver the top class event that we were able to watch in person, and that persons who were not able to make it to the track in person, persons overseas and so on, were able to watch via social media, via YouTube or Facebook or whatever means they were able to watch it by, were able to consume the live stream. It's a top of the line quality thing that we are trying to produce, and so we require top of the line facilities. Now the facility remains there, and it can be used for football and so on. We don't have a home for football here in Nevis. E.T. Willett is the home for cricket, and for a very long time, you know, we've had this tussle between cricket and football and so on. And we have our Bath Village team, who they are in the premiership over in St. Kitts, and they have to play all of their games in St. Kitts. Why? Because we don't have facilities and so on at Mondo. So if the guys come up for the games, they don't have any dressing rooms and so on. Well, here we go. We now have a facility that can act as dressing room and so on, and also a wonderful viewing platform. So, you know, that was the whole idea behind it. We also have some bathroom facilities in the building, so that persons didn't need to have to go all the way over to the other side of the ground to those facilities that we had there. So it's serving quite a lot of different things, and so I'm very, very happy to be associated with that bit of construction. It's not the permanent, you know, structure that we are going to be having there. Of course, we still have the mindset that we are going to bring the stadium. Of course, that is the goal. That, of course, is the end game. That we want to have a top of the line track, and we also want to have a top of the line facility to go along with it, with all of the amenities that people want. But those things take time. The most important thing was to get the track down, so that our athletes, they are able to train and they are able to perform on the type of surface that they would perform on when they go overseas, so that they are not at any disadvantage when it comes to those things. We are not saying that, oh, you put the track and that's it. And you know, I've heard some of those type of comments, and sometimes when I see the comments, I'm saying that You know, I'm saying that look at it. People will always find something, you know, to comment about. If there is no track, they will make noise and say, "Oh, the children run on grass." The track is built, then they're gonna find something else to say. And I'm there thinking about it, and I started to think to myself, well, how long other places have track? And I started to think, and I thought about Antigua. You know, our neighbors in Antigua, and Antigua has been doing well. And I thought about Nevis with 12,000 plus people. And I thought about, well, some place like Antigua with over 100,000 people, I think. Close to that, at least. Right? And I'm saying, well, Antigua has had a rubber track for the better part of 20 years. Because I know, as a youngster going to high school and so on, that Antigua had a rubber track even since then. I think we used to refer to it as Yasco long time ago. And I thought about it and I said, but wait, Yasco is a track, but Yasco don't have no facilities and so on. It's just the track, and it's been there for a long time. And Antigua is a big place, and you know, everybody in Antigua making noise about it. You know, they're thankful for the fact that they have the facility. And Antigua has produced some real top of the line athletes. You think of people like Daniel Bailey and so on, who have been to the Olympics and so on, and been to world championships and have won medals. And you say, but wait. You know, sometimes big meets keep in those places, and nobody even bother to put up a tent. We are cognizant of the situation here in Nevis. We know, well, we put in the bleachers and so on so people could have some place to sit. And we realize, hey, we might have issues with the weather. So we try to at least put up some tents when we're having big sports meets so that, you know, people would have some shelter and so on. It's not that we are saying that the tent is going to be permanent, but we are saying that this is the situation right now, and we are trying to work with the situation in the best way that we can. So we want to ask folks to have a little bit of patience, you know, be patient with us. I know there are some persons, you know, who understand, because people meet me all the time and people say, you know, Troy, we know that you all are doing your best. We know that things take time. And so, you know, I want to thank those persons who are always calling and saying those kind words, you know. But sometimes people out there, and people can get very testy, and so they would want to you know, talk about everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, and I'm smiling tonight, you know, because it's 20 after 9, and I've been talking for quite a long time, and it's a calling show, and our callers are not calling tonight. It's not that I'm not prepared to talk for the whole night, because I'll tell you that I am, but it would be good to hear from some of our callers, you know. The numbers to call 869-1616, 869-1700. This is On the Mark, of course, you know. Talking a lot about track and field, about our interprimary, and about the position that we have taken out there, you know, in terms of the upgrade works that we have done. And of course, we anticipate that there would be a lot more upgrade works to be done in the near future. You know, hopefully we can get in that stadium. You know, somebody commented to me about the Carifta Games. Carifta Games were held in Big Bahamas, big time track, home of Sean Emilio Weibo, gold medalist, and I think there's a male, Stephen Gardner, also a gold medalist in 400 meters. And rain fell at Carifta, and there were persons at Carifta who had out their umbrella and so on, and that was a big stadium. So sometimes, even in these outdoor stadiums, when rain fall, you know, because of the nature of the type of stadiums they are, the rain still comes in. So people, this happens in football stadiums in big United States and so on, and of course even in the mecca of track and field in Jamaica, in their main big stadium, you know. And Jamaica, of course, is the home of Usain Bolt and Johan Blake, two fastest persons ever in history, and Shelley and Fraser Price, and you know, those type of persons, the best female sprinters in the world. And even there you have open stadium, so when rain falls, people put up their umbrella in the same way. I think it's something that people understand. And we, of course, are not saying that we don't believe in the facility. We're not saying that at all. We're saying that we know that we need to do the facility, and we're committed to doing it, but we're saying that it's going to take a little bit of time. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at the time here, you know, I'm certainly committed to talking, and I believe everybody wants to test me, you know, to see if I can. I want to send a special good night to acting Premier Spencer Brand. You know, I want to say a special good night to you. I should have done it at the top of the show, actually. You know, let me take a little diversion from, you know, talking about sports and track and field to talking a bit of politics. And so I want to say good night to acting Premier Brand. And I say that and I smile when I say it, because you know that Premier Brantley would have gone off island, you know, to, I think, to receive an award. And so I think something went out to say that Minister Brand is the acting Premier of Navies. So all of a sudden some people take this and start to make it into some sort of story, start to spin it and so on. I actually heard it. Somebody sent me some sort of clip, and I heard somebody trying to make an issue out of the fact that Brand is the acting Premier. And in my mind, I was like saying, well, is this for real? Or is this a real issue? Or something like that. You know? And then I heard it again. And then just this evening, somebody was talking to me. And they said, well, you know, I can't understand how people make an issue out of the fact that Brand is the acting Premier. The person told me, you know, I have to make sure talk to people, you know, so that, because I don't understand what's going on. And I said to the person, well, if the Premier gone off island and the Deputy Premier gone off island, well, isn't it natural that Minister Brand should act as the acting Premier? So the person said, oh, that's what happened. And the person said, well, you know, they're out there and they're making it out to look like there's some sort of big problem within CCM, or there's some sort of big problem within the government. I hear all kind of things. And I said to the person that when you hear stories start to come around, examine the source of the story. That is what you have to do. Examine the source of the story. And if you see who the story coming from and who's spinning the story, then you would understand why they're spinning the story that they're spinning. You would understand why they're saying it, and you would understand that it makes no sense at all. You see, they got some people out there and they're going on all kind of radio station and so on, and they have no issues of substance that they can come with. So they're going to grab on to any little Nancy story and any little make-up story and want to make it into something. So somebody say, well, Eric, we not go on bad over a Monday track when they had inter-primary. So Mark vexed with him. So that is why he put Brand to act. And I laugh long time, long time. Me not laugh so much. Long time I ain't laugh so much. And I said, when I gave the person the explanation, the person said, true. I said, well, yeah. So if Mark gone away and Eric gone away, well, A. Spencer supposed to act? So I want to send a special good night to acting Premier Brand, you know. And Honorable Premier, I want to pledge my full support to you, you know, for these few days. Because I don't understand why people have to go and criticize, or why people have to go and find all kind of nonsense to talk about. I don't understand it. Every single thing, they have to find something to criticize. They have to find some story to make up. There are lots of other stories that are going around here, you know. I've heard one or two of them, and in general I tend to want to, you know, ignore the noise. But sometimes it's good to talk about them, you know, because some people out there hearing these stories over and over and over and over again, they start to listen to them, and then they start to believe, oh, well, somehow there has to be some truth in it, because I have not heard Mark come out and say anything, or I have not heard Spencer come out and say anything, or I haven't heard Troy come out and say anything. And I want to encourage the good, right thinking people of Nevis to adopt a posture when you hear nonsense, because whenever I listen to something, and I tend to think about it when I hear it, and I say, but that sounds sensible. And most times, if it sounds like nonsense to me, it comes in through one ear and it goes straight out to the next ear. I don't process it. I do not process it, because I realize that it's nonsense. And you know what else I don't do? When I hear nonsense, I don't go and pass it around, because sometimes we hear some stories going around and we don't really believe it, you know. We know that by that thing that don't make no sense. But we go and we tell Tom, we go and we tell Jane, we go and we tell Mary. You know what I hear? Tom, you know what I hear? And then Tom left and Tom gone to tell somebody else, you know. And the person who Tom tell gone and tell somebody else. And a different story now is propagated out there. And people start to say, well, I get it from a good source. Or I get it from somebody who know. Or I get it from whatever. And then it goes out there and people start to believe that it's a real thing, when in most cases there is no truth at all to the story. So the premier went off island, the deputy premier went off island, and so the minister is acting, and that is the truth of the matter. There is no other story to it. And the other stories that people going around and peddling, I want to tell people that the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM is strong. CCM is cohesive. CCM is together. CCM is working for the best interests of the people of Nevis. CCM has one leader. Nobody in CCM trying to overthrow the leader. Nobody in CCM wants to overthrow any leader. Nobody in CCM has any desires to do anything like that. So for those persons who go in and peddling those kind of things, I want to admonish you, and I want to say to you, stop going around and talk nonsense, man. Let sensible things come out of your mouth when you talk. You know, leave the nonsense to one side. And in future, when you hear foolishness, dismiss it as foolishness. Let it come through one ear and let it go out to the next ear. Don't pass it around, because when people hear you talking foolishness, people looking at you, you know, people watching you when you're talking foolishness, and they're looking at you and they're saying, well, what kind of nonsense this person talking? You know, and they start to watch you kind of sideways based on how you're talking. So let it be that when you go around and you're talking to people, that you're talking sense. You understand? Now look at it. So the premier is the premier of Nevis. He has a duty to administer things on Nevis. So the prime minister is the prime minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He has, you know, a primary duty to deal with things in St. Kitts. But of course, he has a lot of residual duties to deal with things in Nevis by virtue of the fact that he is the prime minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so what happened if the Premier of Nevis and the Prime Minister of the Federation get on? So what happened if they go to a dinner and they sit together and they talk? So what happened if they meet somewhere and they talk? Why is that a big issue for some people? Honor should be given to whom honor is due. And that is the way that the world is supposed to work. That is the way certainly how our society should work. So you have some people out there and they have this big song and dance week after week, and they have this big problem week after week. Somehow, because the Premier and the Prime Minister talk. Well, I want to say to those people, if that is something that is a problem to you, then you're going to have a problem for a long time. If that is something that is burning you and is a big issue for you, then it's going to be burning for a while. Because we understand that to run the Federation, that we have to, have a sense of collaboration. CCM has always been a party that has stood up for the people of Nevis. It's not to say that CCM is out there and we are going to be bowing down to anybody, or we are going to be any type of mendicants to anybody. But the thing is that we understand that there has to be good working relationship, and we have always understood that. The only time CCM has been, has had any adverse position to anybody is when those persons have had an adverse position towards Nevis. That's the only time we have been adverse to anybody. Once they're adverse towards Nevis, then CCM would be adverse towards them, because CCM is all about standing up for Nevis and for Nevis people. And I don't understand what the issue is. We have, of course, a new federal government, and so we have to give the government an opportunity to see what they want to do. I would tell you that the way how they have been talking, certainly in my conversations, they have been talking like they want to collaborate and to work together to move the Federation forward. So what are we supposed to do? Jump up and play enemy? No. We have to give people an opportunity to see if their actions are going to match their words. So for now, the words sound good, and we are seeing some actions that are trending in the right direction. And so we have to give opportunity to see exactly if actions will match words over time. And that is all that we are doing. So I realize, you see, we can't even keep away from sports, and we can't keep away from Interpremier. So during the Interpremier, as I said earlier, myself along with Minister Evelyn, we took a walk around the park. We took a walk around the Manda Park. We went up to where all of the athletes were, all of the schools and so on were, and we went through the athletes. And when I decided, we wanted to take a walk around the park and so on, I was there with colleague minister, the Minister of Sports, on St. Kitts, and we were having a discussion and so on, and I asked him, would you like to come and meet a few of the athletes and the staff and so on. Of course, he's the Minister of Sports. I am Minister of Sports also, and so we have that working relationship. And he said, sure, I would love to. At the same time, Minister Evelyn said yes, he would like to come along, and a few of the other guys who were over here from St. Kitts said they would like to come along also, including the Deputy Prime Minister and a few others who were there. And so we went around, and I led the way. Somebody gone and they gone on their radio, and they gone on their Facebook, and they gone on wherever. I don't know. It's people send things to me, and people call me and tell me, because I am not following. CCM leading around Labour in Nevis, and I laugh when I saw it. I really, really, really had to laugh when I saw that somehow it's a big problem because the Minister of Sports at Nevis and the Minister of Sports federally taking a walk around the field together. Well, I could have been going around there and seeking to get some common interest and seeking to do something to develop the Mondojack. So even that is a problem. It seems as though every single thing is a problem to some people. It seems as though if some people see progress happening in Nevis, that is a problem for them. Because you know what? If the government in Nevis is seen as doing good, if the government in Nevis is seen as working for the people, if the government in Nevis is seen as having the best interests of the people at heart and doing things to make sure that the people of Nevis moving forward, then it's bad for those persons who talking. You understand? Because the ultimate goal is not to see anything good for Nevis people. Their ultimate goal is to try to get themselves into some sort of power or something like that. And we have to be very suspicious. We have to be very suspicious of the motives of people like these. If you have people and they see good and they can say, boy, that is something good, congratulations. If they have people and they can't see anything good at all happening, we have to be suspicious of their motives. So I'm telling you, for those who does listen to those other people who like to talk and who like to do whatever, if you never hear anything good coming from them, if you never hear them say, well, congratulations for this, or the government did well there, or this person has done well there, if you're never hearing any of that from them, you have to be very suspicious of their motives, because you know what? Their motives are self-serving motives. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. We have just about 20 minutes more, and I'm feeling kind of lonely over here, I'm feeling kind of lonely over here. Of course, the lines are still open. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. I'm wondering if something big is happening tonight and I missed it. I don't know if anything big happening. Maybe NBA playoffs. Maybe most persons are basketball fans or something like that. But things like that happen. I don't think I've ever spoken for 2 hours straight though, except when I'm in the parliament. Sometimes you're in the parliament and you talk for 2 hours. I think they give us 90 minutes or something like that. Sometimes in 90 minutes done and you don't even realize that the 90 minutes is finished. But On The Mark is the people's show, and so we generally want to give people the opportunity to call in and hear whatever their views are and so on. So that's the expectation, even though we come prepared fully to go for the entire 2 hours. All I get in is all I get in is call and WhatsApp. Somebody tell me I need to give away some tickets to something. That's a good one, but Interprimary is gone already. I think we have the relay championships coming up over on St. Kitts. I'm not sure what the date is going to be. Maybe I could give away a ticket to that one, or some boat passes. Or better yet, I think the dates for Music Festival have been announced, right? And all of the artists have been announced for Music Festival. I better say that I'm going to give away a VIP ticket. I heard everybody wants to go VIP, that the VIP has I think at least one of them is sold out already or close to being sold out. So I think if persons can go out and support the music festival, then certainly that's a plus. I don't have any tickets, so I can't give away any at the moment, but maybe when I get one, I'll come back on the show and I'll give away a ticket, or maybe I should put it up for the next person who calls. Once I get it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. I'm your host, Troy Liburd, tonight, and it's been a rather uncharacteristically quiet night, but yeah, still got a lot of things that I can talk about. Oh, one of the good things that I could talk about. Yes, how could I have neglected this? So we were able to secure, well, the government was able to secure an operator for the facility that used to be operated by Brown Hill Communications. That's up in Brown Hill by the health center, the call center that used to be operated there by Brown Hill Communications. So we were able to secure some folks who should be on island already. They're on island already, and they should have started the recruiting process, to hire folks who would be providing call center, services from that facility quite soon. I think they're looking to start operations maybe as early as next month. I don't have all of the details. I know that they're hoping to start out with a smaller staff at first, but then over time they want to ramp up to a much larger staff. I'm being told somewhere in the area of about 300 persons or so. I think that's around what the number is going to be, and I think that's a good thing for us here on Nevis. All of us would remember Brown Hill Communication. Brown Hill Communication, they were a major job provider here on Nevis, and it's quite unfortunate that they had to leave when they did. I think they left sometime in 2019 or late in 2018. I remember when that happened. The premier would have gotten a call one day and just said that, hey, we have to go, and that was the end of that story. And then since then we were working on getting someone to come back in and to operate the facility. We have the facility there that was built by the government some years back, and I think that was a good thing. It was built under an NRP government, actually. So you see, one can give credit where credit is due. So the building itself was done under the then NRP government, and so the facility was there. When they closed down, after that we were looking for somebody to take up the mantle and bring in a company. Just before the COVID-19 pandemic came in on us, we were very close to having somebody come in. As a matter of fact, the same week when the borders were closed in the Federation, a gentleman was supposed to be flying into Nevis to have a look at the facility and to come and have some discussions and so on. And he could not come because I think his flight was already in the air. He had already left from one place and had landed and was about to take a connecting flight that would get him here to Nevis. That's how close we were to getting an operator. And the gentleman had to turn back because the borders were closed at that same time. And COVID-19 was a time with a lot of uncertainty. So nobody was sure exactly what would be happening. So because of all of that, the gentleman had to turn back, and then we lost that opportunity altogether. And since that, we've had several persons or several business entities show interest in bringing a service provider here for us, and none of them really panned out until this last person who came in. We've had they have had some discussions with the government. The discussions have been fruitful, I think we already signed some sort of agreement and so on with them, and so it's only a matter now of getting the center up and running. So we can expect, some jobs to be coming on stream shortly, insofar as that is concerned. I think that is something really good for the people of Nevis. That is something positive. That is something that all of us can be, happy about. So if there are persons out there who, you are in need of a job and you haven't been having any luck with getting a job, then my suggestion is to probably go to the Department of Labor and to find out exactly, when the recruiting will start for, this new call center, and perhaps, you might be able to get some employment there. The employment numbers for Nevis, of course, as the Premier would have put out, they have been looking up. They have been looking rather promising. We know because of COVID we would have lost a lot of jobs and so on in the hotel sector and so on, and those are just now rebounding. And for everybody would not have gotten back into the sector, so there are still some persons who remain unemployed and so on, and for those persons this might be an opportunity for you. So we would want to take advantage of the opportunity and go out and get that employment. So we're very happy that these service providers have come forward and that we are able to have the facility up and running in short order. So that is something really positive for us around here. And I would hope that some of these guys who go on the radio, well, we're not asking them to carry our story for us anyway, because we can do that. But if you go on the radio, at least go and say something positive. Don't just go and say that it's all doom and gloom and make up all kind of stories and say this is happening and that is happening. And I think they should have learned. I think they should have learned, because the Premier said it last week already when we had that story about the roaches and the bats and all of that stuff. Sometimes they're always quick to run on the radio and say this is happening and that is happening. I'm starting to recall that story. I remember when the gentleman came on the radio and talked about the bats and so on, and I was able to go and say, that the whole thing is fake news. And then the gentleman said that he want the person to come forward who gave him the wrong information. So, and they're not learning because they're still going out and putting out the same type of information and so on. So we would want them to do something different, man. Don't just oppose for the sake of opposing. We know that you're in the opposition. We know that it's cold out there. We know that it's lonely out there. But I mean, come on, at least act like you're trying to do something for the public or to benefit the public. Don't act like it's all about you and it's But I guess there's a saying that says, if people show you who they are, believe them. Because that is who they are. And these guys keep showing us that they are all of self and none of thee, and that the only thing they care about is gaining some sort of semblance of power. That's all that they want to get. So all this talk and all this thing that they're going out and doing is not about the best interests of anybody in Nevis, except for them and those who are closest to them. I think I had neglected to say something when I spoke about the whole thing at the Mondo track. I did highlight the person who was the architect of the building, but I was supposed to talk about the other young people who I had brought on, and they had gotten some opportunity at the same inter-primary school sports. Because when we did the much talked about VIP, and I like to talk about it, when we did the much talked about VIP, okay, so we needed to cater for the VIP, and what happened is that this month, April, is Youth Month, okay, And so part of the whole thrust towards Youth Month, and the theme for Youth Month this year is inspire to aspire, right? So that means you're inspiring somebody, you're doing something to inspire somebody so that they can aspire, right, to be better, right? So the whole theme is inspire to aspire, right? And one of the things that we wanted to do was to highlight some young persons. So when we came up with the whole idea about the VIP and so on, and we got the young person to do the design and so on, we also said that we wanted to get some young persons exposure in terms of the catering and so on, in terms of doing the food for the sponsors and for those dignitaries and so on who would be in the VIP. And so that is exactly what we did. So we got 3 young persons. I don't think any one of them is 25 years old as yet, and we got them to do the catering for the VIP. And from all of the reviews that I've gotten from persons who would have been there, the food was excellent and the service was excellent. So we got some folks from the Department of Youth along with some volunteers to actually be the servers in the VIP. And then we got 3 young persons to do the catering of the food. And I'm very proud about that, you know. I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to do that, and I'm very happy that we were able to get the good reviews that we got about what they did. And the 3 young persons were Wentworth Smitten, Keonesia Reed, and I'm looking for the name of the third person. Hold on. I need to get oh yes, the third person is Shakima Brown. All of them are young persons under the age of 25. And you know what else all of them have in common? All of them have associate's degrees in culinary arts. So they are young persons, they are intelligent persons, and they are persons who have sought to better themselves in the field that they have chosen as careers. So those were the persons who did the catering for the VIP. All under 25, and all of them, they have their associate's degrees in culinary arts. So they can cook, and they can not just cook, but they have the paperwork to show that they can cook. And so I was very, very happy to give them that opportunity. And from all of the reviews that we have gotten, they did an exceptional job. So that's what it's all about, you know, young people. Since I spoke a little bit about the fact that it's Youth Month, I need to also highlight the fact that the Department of Youth is actually having their regular Easter holiday camp, and the camp started the day after the Easter holidays on the Tuesday, and we were able to put on something that, you know, I was very happy to be a part of, and that was a kite making workshop. We had some assistance from Mr. Arthur Farrell, Mr. Kejan Reed, and Mr. Lionel Doe. Those were our 3 facilitators for the kite making workshop. So they were able to make some kites with our young persons. We have over 150 young persons being a part of that camp, and so we were able to help the students to make some kites. And then we had a big fun day on last week Thursday, over at the Mondo track. So Mondo track is not just being used for athletics, but we were able to put on a big kite flying extravaganza for the young people over there at the Mondo track last week, Thursday. So it was a kite flying and a fun day. Also, the young people at the camp, they were able to tour the fruit orchard down in Indian Castle. That was today, and they had quite the fun day there. They had all these bouncing castles and all of those things at the fun day in Indian Castle today. They were also engaged in the art of learning tie-dye. We had some facilitators who came in and they were teaching tie-dye to the young people. I think I'm supposed to have a shirt somewhere there that they would have done the tie-dye on. I should get that shirt sometime tomorrow or Friday. I will be wearing it for the closing ceremony. They were engaged in storytelling. There's a career day where persons from the community doing different careers and so on were able to come in and also showcase those careers and, you know, talk to the young people about the different careers that are out there for them. There was also an art and craft day, and there were some demos on water safety and also first aid. I want to commend Miss Curtis Clark, our Director of Youth, and also her entire staff. They have been doing an excellent job there working with the young people. I tell you, I was there for the kite making workshop. I was there again today at the orchard, and you know, it's a it's a tough task dealing with so many young people, you know, when they're pulling this way and pulling that way, and everybody wants to have their own way. And I think our staff at the Department of Youth, they do a remarkable job along with all of their volunteers. I saw the Director of Sports. He was at the kite flying competition last Thursday, and I saw him today again. I also saw at the kite flying competition, I think this was the highlight for me at the kite flying extravaganza last week Thursday. I saw the Deputy Director of Sports, Mr. Brian Dow. I saw Brian Dow hoisting a kite, and Brian was running from the fence coming back up, and you know, as soon as the kite going up, you know, he's running and the kite go back down, and I see him start to run again, you know, and I stopped and I marveled, and I said, you know, our workers are very, very dedicated, you know. And when the kite went up, the young person who he was assisting to hoist the kite, you know, I saw the smile on her face, you know, and the look of satisfaction on Brian's face. You know, I felt really, really, really good. And so the staff at the Department of Youth and also the staff at Sports, because they have been working together, you know, they have been doing a remarkable job, and I'm really, really happy. I saw most of them there at the fruit orchard today, and you know, it's good teamwork. Teamwork is what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost 10 o'clock and you know, the lines have been open all the time. The calls have not, the folks, I think everybody is watching basketball or something, so we haven't had all of the calls, but the band is striking up. Maybe next time we come back we'll get a lot of calls. Maybe next time I'll have some VIP tickets for the music festival, and I could say that I'm giving them away, so I'll get a lot of calls then. But for now, you know, it was a wonderful show. I got to say all that I wanted to say, and so I want to thank those persons who are out there listening and viewing the show. And if you didn't catch it tonight, then you can certainly catch the show tomorrow. It's going to be re-aired at 1 p.m. Do have a wonderful night. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.